Welcome back to another video from this channel. So today we will discuss about some of the basic guidelines that you should know about IELTS reading and before start practicing the IELTS reading. So, most of the candidates from our side of the world, they suffer from reading. They complain that they can't finish answering all of the questions within the given time in the actual test, and maybe that's one of the major reason why most of the candidates are sorry, maybe not most of the candidates, maybe it could be that a majority portion of the candidates are not doing well in this particular module. So, when I was a student like you, I was a candidate like you, I attended the for a course from the British Council, Bangladesh. So, one thing that I noticed that our teacher always tried us to train ourselves for the time management. It's very important because you get only 60 minutes to complete 40 questions, 3 passages. And often for non-native folks, these passages can be a little bit harsh. Why? Because sometimes it happens that the questions are using a lot of paraphrasing. I mean, you will notice many paraphrasing in questions in your passages, and sometimes maybe due to a lack of lexical resources. So lexical resources means vocabulary. So since we sometimes we lack from the right amount of vocabulary in our pocket, that's a major reason why we're suffering a lot understanding the questions, the passages. So now we have to be trained, and you have to train yourself actually before you go for the actual test. And maybe if you don't do so, you will suffer in the long run. Yep, but yes, in this video, we will try to discuss what we need to know, what we should do during our preparation in IELTS. So, as you can see, uh, there is a distribution, as you can see, 15 plus 20 plus 25. So that means if you're lucky, I'm not saying that that's the case always, because for me, my question was a little bit trickier. So I couldn't finish the first passage within within my goal, which was 15 minutes. So if you're lucky, your first passage will be comparatively easier. So if you get easier question in the actual test, try to finish it within 15 minutes. And while you are giving mock tests or practicing at home, if you get easier questions, try to finish it within 15 minutes, because if you get one passage comparatively easier, maybe the second one could be a little bit harder. The last one could be a little bit tougher. So but it's not the case always, as I told you, that it may happen that all of you passages are hard. Maybe two of them are hard or three of them are hard. So maybe on those occasions, you may suffer within finishing. Finishing within 15 minutes. But yes, I would say that try to practice from the very beginning to do so. So what you can do, and another thing is, in the actual test, they won't let you to bring your mobile phone or watch or laptop inside the exam hall. You can bring it to the exam center, and then you have to um, lock them up in the locker. They will give you some of the facilities. Maybe there will be a locker, or maybe they will just take away your items and they will store it in a safe place. So that's why you won't get any chance to bring your watch as well, not in the speaking session as well. So so that's why what you can bring actually, but you can bring some of the things, like you can bring pencils, you can bring eraser, you can bring a sharpener that you like, and you can also bring some highlighter, maybe some pens, but I would recommend you to use pencil always, because you can you have so much liberty in terms of writing tasks, and they won't let you to use pen in listening and reading answer sheets. So it's better you get used to using pencils. So basically what you will face there, I mean, sorry, maybe my mm, video is lagging here, but the thing is, you will see a projector projecting a timer like this. As soon as they give you your question papers, they will start the timer, and it will be so precise that they won't let you use another second. So the time is very limited. There is no chance that you will get another extra minute, or um, you hardly see that they are giving you less amount of time. I mean, less than 1 hour, because the system is so precise. As soon as I know, so as far as I know, sorry. Okay. So, if you're willing to do well in reading, the major reason why we lack from the skill shortage in terms of this reading, or we can't finish the module, I mean, nicely. I mean, the major reason is we don't have the reading habit. And it's very important that we develop the reading skills. It's very much important, Uh, if you don't know how to read, if you don't understand what you're reading, if you are not understanding your questions, yes, that it's very true that you will not get the desired bandit score. I think it's not injustice. It's pretty much the right thing that is happening with the guys, those who are not developing or grooming up themselves. So, how may you develop your reading skills? You should read newspapers regularly. Maybe every once in a while you can read some stories. You can bring some novels from local libraries if you have any. But what I would say that you should read newspapers regularly. Read at least 2 or 3 articles per day. If you can't, if you can't read, I mean, if you can't manage printed newspapers, there are plenty options to there are plenty options as well. So the one thing that I would recommend to you, okay, in my country, I mean, in Bangladesh, we have some of the free newspapers. And they are not free actually. If you buy the printed copy or the offline copy, um, it will cost you some money. But they are just giving away free services in all. I mean, through online. As you can see, there are two e-papers. I mean, e-papers are like the actual paper, and these are free. I mean, they won't cost you a penny. I have been reading um this newspaper, Dhaka Tribune. I like it. I have been reading it since the beginning of my IELTS preparation, and still I like it. I like to read it every once in a while. And another option could be Daily Observer. So try to get the offline paper. That would be better, because you can note down the new words easily. So remember, IELTS isn't like an academic test. We think that if we read, if we root or if we memorize the answers, if we use templates. Templates, I think that that's one of the major misconceptions in our country, that some of the teachers are teaching through templates. So, they are ultimately harming the students. They are ultimately uh, don't letting them to grow up. And obviously, yeah, but it's also true that a huge portion of the students from some of the particular cities, they just care about getting a minimal amount of Spanish, and they have very little knowledge about English. I mean, they don't have the basics of English. If you don't have the basics of English, I would recommend you to at first learn the basics, learn the basic rules. Uh, Learn to understand the language at first. You can take some suggestions from your school teacher. Maybe you can hire a private tutor to teach you those basic things. Spend 3 months, maybe 2 or 3 months to improve your basics at first, then go for the IELTS test. IELTS isn't like a test where that teachers will teach you the basics of English. That's the first thing that you have to understand, that IELTS trainers are not trained for teaching you basic grammars. Yes, there are teachers who are teaching those things, but they are not qualified, or they are not understand, they're doing that for their business. Sorry, I undeliberately told that unqualified. They're not unqualified. They're not understanding the thing. They're not letting you understand the thing. That's like a business. So English is a language, English is a language. So if you don't acquire skills, you won't be able to do something better. You have to, it's a language, you have to take it as a language. Remember what we did back in our childhood with our mother tongue. So we have to do it. You have to listen a lot, English contents, you have to read. So that's how you gain the skills that you need for the reading, this reading and this test. So as you can see, I saw a Facebook post recently, maybe not recently, it was a couple of months ago. So as you can see, those who don't read articles, I mean news articles, they will suffer from this reading forever. So we should read newspaper, and that's the first thing that you have to understand. Okay, so what you can do after understanding the tactics of practicing IELTS reading, you should practice regularly. What I believe that if you practice 2.5 hours per day on each of the modules, maybe if you can't practice each of the modules, at least try to practice reading and listening regularly. Maybe it's also important to do some writing, because you have to maintain the speed for IELTS writing, because the time is also very limited there. So at least try to practice 2.5 hours per day, and rest of the time that you get, invest it to improve your English. I mean, your English skills. So what you can do, and what I saw from my teacher back in my um, uh, time, I mean, when I was practicing. So she used to give us some tasks in the class, and she used to set a timer in a alarm clock, and you can do so. Okay, you can also do it. Like you can set an alarm in your mobile phone and then practice. I mean, when you were confident enough, or when you have spent enough time before understanding the rules and the tactics or you have done some of the practice modules, you should try to set an alarm and you should be honest with yourself. Try to finish the all of the three passages within 1 hour. When the alarm goes on, stop writing and evaluate your what you have done, your overall score, your condition, how much you are prepared. Try to understand these things. So there is a tactics that I try to teach my students. That's you can see that if the passage contents, if your question is list of headings, try to read the passage first. That will help you to understand. But if the question is anything apart from list of headings, like true, false, MCQ, gap filling, you can start with understanding the question first. You can read the questions, you can find out the keywords, then try to solve it. So I actually noticed one thing. I told you that I have been reading newspapers and novels occasionally since the beginning of my IELTS preparation. So I got this Polish novel. The translation of this Polish novel. Obviously, I don't know how to read and write Polish. And I'm not native as well, and I haven't studied in English medium. So basically, I spent my entire school life studying in Bangla medium. So that's the reason why still after reading newspapers for almost 2 years, I get new words every day, almost every day. Look at this particular paragraph. I got 4 new words here. So what you need to do, if you buy the printed copy of in a newspaper, or it's better that if you are reading, from even printed newspapers, try to note down the words in a notebook like this one, okay? And try to add the translation if you're comfortable. Try to write down the translation in your native language, then add an example. Where should you use this word so that you can use it while practicing and just writing? Yes, yeah, that's true that the words that you are noting down, may you can recall only 5% of them, maybe hardly 5% of them, and rest of them will go forever. You won't recall them. That's the first thing. That's a common scenario, at least from me and from my students. From the experience I got from teaching the students. So it's important that you note down the new words. It's very important because most of the so not most of the many candidates um claim that they are not understanding the passage properly. They are not understanding the questions. So why they're not understanding? Because they're reluctant to read English contents regularly. They are not interested in noting down the new words that they are understanding. They are not interested in gaining the lexical resources from outside sources. Apart from the Cambridge academic book, or they try to read some of the vocabulary books, and often they are not interested in understanding the English lecture. Like you were watching this lecture in English. So there are some candidates who are not interested in um, taking English lectures. So how come they will develop their listening ability or reading ability? And they ultimately suffer in the long run, because those who are going for the academic purposes in abroad, if you're not understanding the language properly, how come you complete your education with a good score or good result? You know, things don't go like this. You have to show perseverance. It's very important. So things you shouldn't do. As I have already told about these things today, but I want to note them down or show you the points that many candidates do, and they suffer in the long run. I saw, when I tell some of the candidates who are asking me how to improve themselves, if I tell them or if I ask them to read newspaper or English contest, they say that I'm watching Bangla translation videos on YouTube. So how come you understand the language, or how come you understand your passage if you were taking help from another people who are translating those videos on YouTube? You know, that's the major fault that you're making. I guess those Bangla translation videos are not meant to be for IELTS candidates. Maybe these are for those candidates who are taking government job preparations. That's okay for them because they only know how to route everything. They often they don't try to understand what they are reading. So what you were doing, you were not taking an academic test as I mentioned before. You were giving an English language assessment test. So there are huge difference between an academic test and a language assessment test. So another thing that some of the candidates do is they take Cambridge passages as the sole source of learning new words. I mean, if I ask them to read newspaper, they will say that, "Oh, I'm trying to note down some new words from Cambridge passages." So Cambridge passages are for practice. It's not for learning new words. It's your battleground. It's your practice. I mean, your practice session. You should groom up your skills by learning from a vast source. I mean, from newspaper or maybe novels from this century, not from the previous century. A huge portion of English novels derives from the 20th century. So some of the words are not used anymore. So that's why you should try to find good novels from these centuries. From this century, and then you can read it. So some of the candidates also prefer learning or memorizing words from vocabulary books. Again, that's vocabulary books are not for you. That's not the right way to learn a new language, as far as I know. Okay, so how to improve lexical resources? I mean, your vocabulary. Watch and read content regularly. As I told you, what you shouldn't do. Now, I want to tell you I want to discuss about the things that you need to do. Okay, so watch and read English content regularly is very important. Secondly, don't try to memorize from those so-called vocabulary books. Note down the new words that you notice, as I told you before. So, actually, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you for watching this class. If you have any questions, please, and if you have any opinion in your mind, please do write it down in the comment box, and try to like and subscribe to this channel. And if you have any more queries, or if you're interested in any of my classes, you can just knock me from the in the Facebook page that I have mentioned below. So thank you very much for watching this class.